right, with that being said, let's head out to Windermere, and we're going to talk to Dan. Dan, tell us what you got going on.
2019 Honda Fit. It shudders at low speed, like when I pull out of a parking space or pull away from my driveway. If I let off the gas and then accelerate, it seems to take care of it.
Okay. How many miles are on it, Dan?
34,000.
Have you had the CVT transmission serviced yet?
No, I have not.
Yeah. That is one that I can't stress how important it is. See, what happens is there's a metal belt, is what it's referred to, in that transmission. And there's this actuator in there that actually pushes these two pulleys in opposite directions. And what that does is it allows the transmission to change gear ratio on the fly without actually having to shift like a conventional transmission. Now, the CVT fluid for a transmission is completely different than the transmission fluid that we use for a conventional automatic transmission. See, the conventional automatic ones, not only do we use it as a hydraulic fluid, but we also use it as a lubricant, a high-pressure lubricant to help, all the bushings and everything else get lubrication in the transmission. Well, on a CVT, you actually use a fluid that does lubricate bearings, but it also provides traction for that metal belt. So when your fluid gets all worn out in a CVT, it will cause that metal belt to actually slip a little bit inside the transmission. And now when it does that, when you feel that, that's not a good thing, Dan, because that metal belt slipping on those pulleys can actually do long-term damage to them. And that's the reason that servicing the transmission on these CVT transmissions is so important. I hope that I don't know exactly what the warranty frame is for that transmission from Honda, but it's up to the consumer to do the services on it. Now, you're a little early, believe it or not, at 34,000 miles. Usually, they recommend to change it at 36,000. So you're pretty much right there. It needs to be done. And by that fluid being worn out and whipped the way that it is, that I'm pretty sure that's probably what you got going on. Now, I'm going to go ahead and throw this out there at you too. I don't know if you know about AMSOIL products or not. They're one of the sponsors, long-time sponsors on this radio show. They make absolutely the best lubricants there is in the world. There's nothing to compare with them. They outperform any lubricant made for just about any application. Now, they make an absolute incredible CVT fluid. And, it's a synthetic. It's a high-dollar polyalpha olefin synthetic. But there's not anything that you could put in that transmission that would help it more, for longevity and just, general characteristics of the shifting of the transmission or the way that it works would be the AMSOIL CVT transmission fluid. I would highly recommend that. If you don't use the AMSOIL, by all means, at least get it serviced, because the way you service this and the type of fluids you use in this CVT transmission now is really going to dictate the long-term durability and dependability of that unit. Those things work themselves to death. They're not my favorite engineering design by no means, but that's what comes in the cars. We have to, face facts and figure out the best way to maintain them and keep them around without, customers having to replace transmissions before 100,000 miles. So the CVT services at least every 3 years, 36,000 miles, and that's even with you using the AMSOIL, the best CVT fluid that there is. So I hope that helps you, and I hope just by servicing it, which is just a drain and fill, so it's not a huge, expensive transmission service. It's just a drain and fill, and you put the good fluid in there, I think that'll take care of your problem. And if you do it every 36,000 miles, you probably will never have to replace that transmission. Well, at least let's keep our fingers crossed anyway. We appreciate your call, Dan, and I hope I gave you some advice that helps you there, buddy.
Oh, yeah, fantastic. I appreciate it very much. You all serviced one of my other vehicles, a Jeep Wrangler, last year. Did a phenomenal job, and I appreciate your advice, and I will get that done ASAP.
Thanks for your call, Dan.